Hello there, in this video we're going to start organising our mood board, so let's go. Okay, welcome back to the file. So as you can see, we're back on the mood board page. Got lots of screenshots here on our mood board, so it's kind of chaotic at the moment and there's not really any structure. So what we want to do now is we want to start clustering and curating all the screenshots that we've got. So for this clustering exercise, what we want to do is we want to group similar elements together. So on this mood board, we probably want to organize things by elements, so graph elements, maybe sidebar elements, because we've taken a lot of screenshots there. And we can start to cluster these screenshots just so we can organize this board a little bit better. So when we're reviewing this mood board, we're able to jump in and see by category very clearly what screenshots relate to what category. So there's lots of different ways you can do this, I'm sure, but what I'm going to do in the first instance is just simply use some text and cluster these categories by text, and we can always expand the context further if we want to, so we can write more information in this cluster. But let's just start with simple category headings that we can follow to tidy up this mood board. Okay, so let's do one together. Let's add in a heading here for, let's do sidebar. We'll do navigation, and let's just go ahead, let's pop that down here, and now let's go ahead and just grab all of the different sidebar navigations that we found, and let's pop them near this heading and cluster them there. So let's move that. I'm just going to turn off the menus. Okay, let's have a look. What else do we have? Okay, I might rename this to navigation just to make it more general at the moment. We have sidebar navigation, but we also have horizontal navigation as well. So let's continue and go through the rest of the file, see if we've got anything else. Okay, I'm keeping it pretty rough at the moment, but you get the idea. So that is the first one there. That's the first cluster for navigation. So we can place that down here. And now what I'm going to do is I'll speed up this part of the video. I'm going to go through the rest of the screenshots. I'm going to assign them a category heading that we can use on the mood board. And then we can cluster these in different sections of the mood board so it's easier to navigate and see what we have. Then we can do a quick review, see what we have, see if we've got any gaps, and if there's anything else we need to go out there on the internet and get some more inspiration for. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I will see you in a bit. Okay, welcome back. So as you can see, I've clustered the images into different categories. We've got navigation, dashboard UIs, UI tiles, graph visuals, and UI tables. So looking at the clusters, I'm a little bit light on the UI tiles, so I might go out and get some more inspiration in that area. UI tables, I might do the same, as there's not as many there as well. And potentially I could do that with the navigation. So yeah, I think it's a good start so far. I'm going to go out there again and I'm going to find some more examples for UI tiles, tables navigation, and potentially color palettes or typography if I see anything that I quite like. So yeah, I'm going to speed up this part of the video and I will see you in a bit. Okay, so welcome back to the file. So as you can see, we've expanded out some of our categories a little bit further. So we've got dashboard UIs here, the graph visuals, UI tables has expanded, UI tiles has expanded. We've added a few more to the navigation. We've also added in color palettes and typography. So let's just jump in a little bit further and have a look. So dashboard UIs, they're all organized nicely here in this section. I may have added a few extra examples on the side. UI tiles, I've gone ahead and expanded this a little bit further. So as you can see, giving me some more ideas of how the other dashboards are using UI tiles, what kind of information they're displaying, how it's spaced, what the typography is like, what the color usage is like. So this gives us some ideas of how tiles are used on dashboards and what kind of information is being surfaced, the color, the graphs, and so on. So very, very useful. Good to have that on the board. I don't think the graph visuals have changed a huge amount. I may have added, again, some extra examples going along. So let's go to UI tables. We've added a few more specific examples in here that are targeted more towards table usage, how tables are being used on dashboards, what elements are being surfaced, what colors are being used. So again, giving us some really great ideas for if we're going to need a table and if we're going to use it on a dashboard. So seeing how other people have done it and potentially pulling some inspiration from these designs to create a really great UI table. Okay, let's zoom right out and let's go across to the left hand side. So we've got navigation. Potentially we've added a couple of examples around the edges here. I'm not sure exactly the examples that I've added because there are just so many on this board, but they're all collected here. So again, good inspiration if we're going to go with a sidebar navigation, if we're going to go with a horizontal top bar navigation. There's some options in here for us to look at and see how others have implemented this in the past. Okay, so I've gone ahead and added a category called color palettes, and what I've done is I've selected a few different dashboards, and what I wanted to do is just create some swatches at the bottom. These are just simple rectangles inside an auto layout, and I've just used the eyedropper and I've gone around the screenshot, and what I wanted to do is just pull the colors just to see what the range is, so just to see what they're using for their primary and secondary palettes. I think that's really interesting, just to pull the ranges, see what's coming out. So as you can see when I'm slightly zoomed out, some of these dashboards have got quite a lot of color and others have been quite restricted and quite limited on their color usage. And in some cases where people have stuck to just a core color palette, it seems to have worked okay. So what's really good to see here is you don't have to go out there and get loads and loads of different colors. People have been successful and done quite a nice design with a fairly limited palette. Okay, let's come out of color palettes and let's go over to typography. So we've got a few examples here. Let's just go around to the left hand side. Let's zoom right in. So we've got some usage here on Lufka. Hopefully I'm not butchering that too much. We've got Clash Grotesque. Let's go round to the side. Got Poppins. So what I've tried to do is put the typography or colors beneath and then put the dashboard example above, so you can just see how the typeface is working on that design. You got Urbanist here, so that's how that looks. Let's go around here. So Inter, again, that's a fairly popular choice across some of these designs. Again, we got some different typefaces up here. Really quite nice to see like the typography, the scales, potentially the weights that they're using as well and the sizing, and then looking at the dashboard itself and seeing how that font's been used thoughtfully across the interface. So there's a lot of choice here. In some cases people have given that little bit of extra context on why they've used it, so it's clean and it's modern, and then you can kind of look at the example and see how they've used it in their project. So a lot of things to think about here, and it just goes to show like when you change what typography you're using on the interface, it does make quite a big difference on how things look and feel. All right, just before we finish this video, let's just zoom in and have a look at our project brief. So yeah, again, we have our primary users, our core objectives, so a clear performance overview, highlight what needs attention quickly, reduce cognitive load, support fast, confident decisions. So we've got some key metrics here that we're going to produce on the dashboard. So we've got our constraints as well. So the dashboard's the primary focus, includes a sidebar navigation to support future product areas and pages. Again, something we can explore as we're going further. So designed for frequent, focused use, clean and scannable, prioritize the essentials and avoid clutter. So we're still here, we're in the research and inspiration phase. So we've gone out there with the mood board, we've gathered a lot of inspiration. We can start to get a feel for common layouts, hierarchy patterns, the chart usage and table usage as well. We've got some great examples there. And as we've looked at these examples and as we continue to look at these examples, you can see how people have improved the scannability of the page and made things easy to digest. Okay, so in the next video, I think what we're going to do is we'll start working on some sketching and early exploration, so maybe some wireframes as well. So we can explore different groupings, different layouts, different approaches on how we could design out our dashboard. So yeah, that's what we're going to do in the next video. Okay, that's it for this part. No, it's not this part. Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks for getting to the end. So like, subscribe, all the things, and I will see you next week in another video. See ya. Just looking back in the camera and I just wondered, does this have any money in it? I love this thing. It's an old piggy bank and sounds like we've got some money in it. Let me just see if I can open this up. Okay, well, we're not rich just yet, but there's probably like 50p in there, so not a lot. Still, good to know. You guessed it, it's show and tell time. So we found this. I don't know what it is, but very odd for a dog bone. What is the point in this? Like, why would you do that? That is actually quite satisfying. Anyway, why? Why is it in my office? Who knows? Could start a shop at this rate. Anyway, you got to the end of the video. Well done. I will see you next week. Take care, get a snack, get a hot drink, live the dream.